A second to the Theranos, the story of Theranos, because I'm not familiar with that.
All right, so Elizabeth Holmes, who has every antisocial personality disorder under the sun, serial liar, total sociopath, narcissist. She went to Stanford just so she could drop out of Stanford and start a company. That was always her, since she was a little girl. She saw, oh, famous people go to good colleges but drop out, start companies, and become billionaires. That's what I'm going to do. So she went to college just for the sake of dropping out, and she started Theranos afterwards. And her big idea was she invented this test machine that with one drop of blood could run hundreds of tests and give you this complete bill of health. It sounded great. And she had this weird quirk where she used this fake baritone voice. She thought that people would take her more seriously if she talked like this. I kid you not. And if you go back and you listen to her interviews on Jim Cramer, Mad Money, I mean, it's like, whoa, why is she doing that? It was all fake. The technology never existed. She made promises that we're going to do this. And when people said, well, where's the proof? Where's your data? She said it's proprietary. And then she would start attacking them. This is what people do when you try to change the world. They fight you. And really, it was all a scam. There was never any technology behind the company. It made it to, I think, a $9 billion valuation. They never went public, but they did get their machines in Walgreens stores all over the countries. And people were going to Walgreens and putting their blood into this machine, and it was spitting them out results, fake results about their health. And who knows how many people were harmed by that. I mean, it was a very serious fraud. And it blew up in her face. She tried to fake it until she could make it, and she didn't.
And Larry Ellison was involved in that, in pushing
Larry
it.
Ellison was Larry Ellison's involvement is what gave her credibility. He made a huge early investment in the company. And then once she had Larry Ellison's money, she starts doing the interviews, tours, and everything. And she says, well, we have Larry Ellison on board now. He sees something in the company, and he's the CEO of Oracle. We must be good. And then she got General Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, the Marine Corps general. He was on her board of directors. I can't remember the guy's name. He was a former Secretary of State. He's since deceased. I can't recall his name off the top of my head, but he was largely credited with navigating the collapse of the Soviet Union. He was on her board of directors, lending credibility. All these famous people were involved. And actually, it was his grandson who ended up blowing the whistle on the company, interestingly enough. But it was all fake. It was a fraud.
And then what happened to her?
She went to jail. I think she's just now getting out of prison. I kind of lost track of her. She got pregnant right before her sentence. I'm pretty sure she created a human life because maybe she figured they wouldn't send her to jail if she was pregnant. She was wrong. She's just an evil person. I mean, evil really does exist. And somebody to do as much harm as she did, not just the money she stole from investors, but the fact that she knew her machines didn't work and let them go into every Walgreens in the country and give people feedback on their health. People would then go and make healthcare decisions based on that information. That's evil. Just an awful, awful person. And I see a lot of similarities between Theranos and someone like a Sam Altman and what I see him doing.
Well, and the fact that she was actually held accountable, though, because a lot of these people, nothing ever comes of it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't until the Wall Street Journal ran an article about her company based on the feedback from Tyler. I can't remember his last name, but he was the grandson of the former Secretary of State. But it was him blowing the whistle, and then a journalist, I think Jim Carreyrou was his name. He ended up winning a Pulitzer for his reporting on Theranos. He blew the whistle on it. It didn't fail until somebody in the mainstream press was willing to stand up and say, this company is full of it. Here's the proof. And even then, it took a while after the Wall Street Journal. I mean, as soon as the Wall Street Journal article came out, the first thing Elizabeth Holmes did was go right on Jim Cramer's show to answer the allegations that everybody fights you when you try to save the world. And of course, Cramer was just happy to give her a platform, billionaire con artist that she is. And, now I see Jim Cramer promoting companies like CoreWeave, who are going on the air to dispel the myths of circular accounting. I see a lot of similarities here, Mike.
Well, and perfect segue then, because in the past you and I've spoken about Nvidia, and I mean you're the one that introduced me. I couldn't even pronounce them right. Remember in the beginning, I
A lot
had
of
so
people
much
say
heat.
Nvidia.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
yeah,
Nvidia,
yeah,
envy.
yeah. That's where I
Yeah.
learned it though, talking to you. I think I had I think it was somebody wrote a comment, basically calling me a moron because I couldn't even get it right. They're like, if you're going to have an expert on, you should at least learn how to pronounce it correctly. Nvidia, 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 for anybody listening or watching.
Hey, I worked in nuclear power, and my first supervisor, who was a brilliant man, seasoned veteran, he called it nuclear. So we had nuclear engineers calling it nuclear. Um, let's not get hung up on pronunciation, shall we? Let's focus on the content instead.
I think we got more things to worry about right now.
Yeah.
So you've spent a lot of time talking, researching, and taking a lot of heat for what you said a few years ago about Nvidia. As we sit here today, and you're seeing what's happening, what are your thoughts?
It is happening exactly how I said it was going to happen. I just cannot for the life of me believe how big it's gotten. If you would have asked me September of 2023 or late August 2023, around that time frame was when I made my first video about this bubble and the circular accounting. If you would have asked me, will Nvidia be a $5 trillion company? I would have said you're drunk. I cannot believe, I can't fathom how big it's gotten. And I did. There was a couple of other people involved, the randos, as I call them. Samantha LeDuc was the CEO of LeDuc Trading. She was my first interview on the subject. There's been a couple of other guys on Twitter and X, Kashram Saram, Kakashi, Just Dario, Finance a Lot. A lot of these guys have been pointing into some of the same things I've been pointing to. And, we did the videos. What really did it for me was when I found out that the CoreWeave guys used to run carbon credits through shell companies in the Cayman Islands back when they ran their company called NatSource. That's all I needed to know about those guys. There is no reason other than sleaze to run carbon credits through a network of 20 to 60 shell companies in the Cayman Islands. And that told me everything I need to know while the whole world was just giggling like a schoolgirl over NVIDIA's earnings. It's part of my nuclear training. I don't go along with that. I am constantly trying to poke holes to make sure something is sound. I'm constantly questioning what I'm told. I need the data to support it. And when I went looking, I found crap hiding under that rock. And so I showed the world what I found. And the more I dug, the more I found, up to and including drug cartels laundering money. I shared it, and the message from the financial press was, don't listen to Twitter randos. Ignore this guy. It was anti-journalism. Nobody in the mainstream press ever reached out to me about circular accounting. To this day, by the way, to this day, nobody has asked me a single question from any of these news outlets, even though they're all reporting what I had 2 years ago. And I know they know that I had it 2 years ago because I saw them all tagging each other on my videos and Twitter when they first came out. But they all said, ignore this guy. Everybody and their mother is now invested in this garbage, whether they realize it or not. It's too late for most people. And yeah, it's sad. Unfortunately, I can't. It's nice to be vindicated, Mike. And I haven't really been vindicated yet because the bubble hasn't popped. But it's just a formality at this point. So I do think I've been vindicated here. But at the same time, it is very bittersweet because my goal was to warn people, and by any measuring stick, I have failed in that warning because it got so big. It just got so unbelievably huge. $20 trillion in market cap just materialized around this bubble.
To talk about round tripping and what that is and how it plays a part.
So round tripping, I told a story. I've done this a few times now, so I'll tell the story to explain round tripping. A little girl starts a lemonade stand, and dad gives her some money to start the lemonade stand, makes a little investment in the lemonade. So she buys the lemonade and the sugar. She sets up the stand, and on the first day, dad wants to help her out, so dad buys a glass of lemonade from the lemonade stand. Here's a little bit more money. He sips it. Oh, hey, that was good. And he buys another glass, and he buys another glass. And at the end of the day, the girl's doing great. She sold 10 glasses of lemonade, 1 to her neighbor and 9 to dad. Dad was giving her money to buy her product. So the next day, She made a problem though. She's selling her lemonade at a loss. She's only selling it for 50 cents a glass. It costs her $1 in sugar and lemonade to make a glass. So she needs more money. It's all right. Dad has deep pockets and dad has a plan. Gives her even more money to buy lemons and lemonade for the next day. So on the second day, she sells 20 glasses of lemonade, one to her neighbor and 19 to her dad. Well, look at that growth. 100% growth instantly. Oh, but the lemonade stand isn't making money. It's not about making money. It's about revenue growth. It's about showing that, lemonade is going to be the drink of choice. It's going to replace water as the drink in everybody's glass. And so on the third day, they go to Uncle Frank. Dad explains his plan. Uncle Frank is in. He wants to invest in the lemonade stand. He gives her thousands of dollars to buy more sugar and more lemons. But he also, in return, he wants an equity stake in the lemonade stand, and he wants 40 lemonade credits, basically coupons for a free glass of lemonade. Okay, no problem. The next day, the lemonade stand opens, and all of a sudden, she sells 60 glasses of lemonade, one to her neighbor, 19 to dad, and 40 to Uncle Frank, who redeemed his lemonade coupons, his lemonade credits. But the redemption of those lemonade credits counts as revenue for the lemonade stand. So she still got that amazing growth going. And then on the last day, the whole family goes to the bank. They borrow $1 billion based on her future cash flows and her expected rate of growth continuing forever. And then she takes the company public at a $500 billion valuation, and dad backstops the IPO, buying $250,000 worth of stock in the company on its first day. What happens after that? After that, on the next day, what happens to that lemonade stand? At the end of the day, you've got a lemonade stand that sold one glass of lemonade to the neighbor every day. Everything else was just dad's money going in a circle, Uncle Frank's money going in a circle, schemes to inflate revenue. That is exactly what Nvidia has done with 49 of their customers last year. They give them money so that they can spend the money on Nvidia's chips.
Why have the powers that be allowed this to go on for so long, do you think?
Stock bubbles are good politics. Stocks going up, people feel wealthy when they see their retirements going up. I mean, I think it was an unforced political blunder. I think President Trump is going to rue the day that he got into bed with people like Altman and people like Ellison. Look, a few years ago, Sam Altman was saying we need to put everybody on universal basic income and make everybody eat bugs in order to save the climate. And Donald Trump wants to go get into bed with him, he's on his side. No, Sam Altman is on whoever will give him money's side. And so President Trump, through this Project Stargate thing, which is really why most of this latest round of deals has just become so ridiculous. It's all the Stargate players, Oracle, SoftBank, OpenAI, and Nvidia. They want to keep the bubble inflated now. It's the only economic growth we have. Take away this bubble, and all of a sudden you're president during a recession. And bad things happens to politicians during recessions. They lose their majorities. They don't get their legislation done. They're remembered poorly. So President Trump has a vested interest now in keeping this bubble inflated. I wouldn't be surprised to see government money start flowing into this bubble to try to keep it inflated, but I don't think they can do it. I don't think they'll be able to keep it up much longer.